Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Jurassic World the game. I know that most of my viewers are people who I do know and they've been calling me up. They asked me for tips on battles and how to win when your team is really outmatched by the opponents. And of course I had to rise to the occasion by making a video, because if you don't get free views, are you really doing YouTube? No. So I think that's what I'll be doing today. Going over how to play battles, and of course I'll be using the most enormously difficult battle there is, Fight for Funds. For a total of $120, you're up against creatures who are 10 times as good as yours. So, okay, so I'm here to give you a couple tips to make this easier. First, you need to identify the most major threat. Here I see that Parasaurolophus Gen 2 is the most major threat because it has the most health and it has the most attack. I need to scare it off, so I use a carnivore like T-Rex Gen 2. It gets afraid and switches into Metoposaurus, which is my weakness. Of course, I'll let Metoposaurus kill T-Rex Gen 2, leaving my turns for Tapijalosaurus so I can come in and finish that with 3. I'll keep track of how many turns they have and how many they go for. So of course Parasaurolophus Gen 2 can kill me in 1. I was completely expecting it to go for 2, but it didn't. It went for 3. So that's basically the battle 1 for me, because I have 7 turns. I can kill it in 3, and I can have the last 4 to check how much attack pterodactyls can have and whether or not I can risk it, which I decided I couldn't. Of course, if you do the math, you can see that 707 times 2 is not equal to that 1,520. But Jurassic World the game, it does not follow maths. It gives you, I think, a 20% bonus for each attack you do, which is actually quite a lot, especially because it stacks. So in the end, you can do like hundreds of thousands of damage. Now, moreover, like most of the battles are the same. This one, very similar idea. In fact, it's even easier because I just gotta scare off the Gorgo, I kill Antarctopauta, and then I can sweep with a really overpowered amphibian like Nundagosaurus, which I think I do end up using. So last time I didn't get to showcase it, but this time, and I decided against it. Oh no, never mind, okay. Of course, this is a voiceover, once again. Unlike last time though, this is a 17-minute voiceover, so my voice is going to die, and I'm not going to be very happy about it. So of course, Antarctopauta can't kill Mastodontosaurus in 1 hit. I know it can kill me in the next hit, but I don't care, because Ostafricosaurus is really strong. And, you know, I was going to die anyway, might as well make the battle faster. I mean, it might look pretty evenly matched, but I mean, you look at the health. The attack doesn't really mean much because it can vary, but the health is the real determining factor in how strong your team is compared to your opponents. If your opponents have oppressive HP like this Rajasaurus, your dinosaur isn't gonna outcompete them. That's why you have to play smart. Use your advantage, because this is a bot. You are a human. Theoretically, you should be able to beat a bot as a human. And in order to do that, you can't play like a bot, because that would require your team to be stronger than the opponent's team. That was my biggest problem with Jurassic Park Builder, because especially when early on you can't earn bucks, because when you go into a tournament you get steamrolled by the level 40 gold. It was gold back then, it wasn't even legendary. And you couldn't do anything about it because your dinosaurs just weren't strong enough. You just had to come back later. So this is the kind of one that I really wanted to showcase, because it's 3 different creatures and you might not want to know what to do. So once again, you identify the biggest threat. In this case, I thought it was the Secondontosaurus. So of course, I scared it off with an amphibian. I figured out that he would switch into the bot. It would switch into the flyer. So I put Unisaurus in there to tackle that, and the last 2 should be taken on by either a carnivore or an amphibian. Because I decided Secondontosaurus was the biggest threat, I decided to use Ichthyosteger. So the battle starts, and of course I go for my reserve, knowing that it would swap. Disaster kind of strikes, because at first, you know, it didn't really go very well. I didn't expect Orthnoceros to have that much attack. So once again, I just went for the 3 reserves. I sacked a level 40 legendary, and it did work. I managed to kill the flyer. I can't pronounce this name. It's like Orinochiris? Yeah, no. I was a very big dinosaur nerd back in the day. Even I can't pronounce that. So Kentrosaurus comes in with the 3. If I was a human in that scenario, I would not have swapped. I would have just gone for reserves. But because the bot isn't a human, it's a bot, it decided to swap into second Dontosaurus, who proceeds to go for the 5. Oh, that's not how I remembered it. But Ichthyostega comes in now, and I note that he has 1 block. So I go for exactly the amount to kill it, then add 1 more to factor in for the block. And because I knew Kentrosaurus was a serious threat, especially if I was wrong about the block, I went for 3 blocks in the reserve. Now, if I was wrong about the block, I would have lost, because Kentrosaurus can kill Ichthyostega in 2 hits. But luckily for me, I was right that in that case, sometimes, it's what I like about the bots, it's your experience really matters. And I won the pack, because I knew, I've been playing this game for a long time, I know how the bots function, how they attack, and how they, how they process. This is of course easy. You have 3 of the same types. I just had to go for 3 reefs, and it was, I didn't really have much to say in this one, so I guess I'll just tell some stories. So, I've just been working towards more level 40 hybrids, like higher level hybrids, because I know hybrids are very strong, and they can be used to help you progress, especially in tournaments, such as the Triceratops Gen 2 tournament right now. I'm not very active in this game, and that's why I don't play tournaments that often. I like the events, because they're once off, you can log on, you play some events, and you can log off for even a month, up to a month. In fact, more. I logged off for maybe a year once. And, it doesn't really matter, because you can come back and the events will still be cycling. On Sundays, you get a legendary pack, and, that's pretty much all I know. But the events, the tournaments. I want to make the tournaments easier for myself, and that's the reason why I have my hybrids are leveling up, because I don't have as thick of a middle class of dinosaurs. I like to split my roster into 3 areas. First is the lower class, which I use as mainly tanks, whether I want him to survive for 1 turn or not. Then I have the middle class, which is the dinosaurs that I actually use unironically. And then I have the top class, which is dinosaurs I kind of reserve. I don't like to use them, despite knowing that I could use them if I wanted to in said scenario. I want to strengthen my middle class, because right now my top class is it's very good. I have these level 40 legendaries, and then I have level 20 legendary hybrids. I have level 40 rare hybrids, level 30 rare hybrids, and they're pretty decent. But I feel like I can definitely make it stronger by fortifying the middle class, to make the top class not so far spaced. For example, with my level 40 legendaries, they have maybe 1,600 health and an average of 500 attack. And then you have my middle class, and this is the top of my middle class, is the VIP creatures, which have a total of 1,200 health and 400 attack. So you can see the big difference. I want to like merge that into one, so I'm not so reluctant to use my top class anymore. I think I've gone over how to do battles well enough. Now I think I'll go over the management of your dinosaurs. Of course, for me personally, I don't think you should use all of your best dinosaurs. No, because they take, especially in the end, if it becomes a habit for you to just throw in your best dinosaur or creature, of course, because aquatic dinosaurs, they don't exist. They're just reptiles. If you use all your best creatures early, you won't have them for later, especially when you actually need them. For example, in hybrid events, especially those SDNA events where you win packs that contain pretty much everything you need to make a super hybrid. That's super important, because without the SDNA, you won't be able to really progress later on in the game, and you're gonna need the hybrids to play that event. So if you use all your hybrids in the normal event, for example, you won't have them for that event, and you have to wait a week to actually get that event back. Now this is really annoying, because waiting a week isn't easy. For example, especially for me right now, I'm beginning to feel that need to pump out more content in the form of videos. If I'm not getting enough content out there, I feel like people aren't knowing. So I need to really hurriedly, I spend my DNA now, I don't save it anymore, and I try to make interesting content. Even if no one watches, it's still important you have interesting content. So, especially now, you see the creatures I used in the first round of this event, the creatures I use now, if you just go back maybe 3 minutes, they're in completely different levels. Of course, Dacosaurus is still pretty weak, but Mosasaurus and Adestus are on completely different levels with the creatures I used before. And this is because I slowly ramp up, and at the end, when I know that I don't need to do any more events for that day, I'm free to use my best creatures. For example, Orthocanthus, which is, I'm pretty sure this was post-10 notice, so it's no longer my only VIP aquatic creature, but it once was, so I had to really save that. And later on, when the cooldowns on your best creatures start becoming longer and longer, and you have to use them, it's gonna be a week before you get that super hybrid back. So Udon I find a really good example, because it has 11,000 health, it has 3,600 attack, it's a godly creature. It can one-shot everything I have that isn't an amphibian. And that I find really terrifying. But the fact that you can only use a Udon one time every week, it takes a week to recharge, and even longer for creatures like Pachygalosaurus, which is like 2 weeks, maybe 14 days, was it? It's a lot, and you really don't want to be using that too often. You want to use it when you really need to, and when you're really forced to. So with the events that don't require you to just throw your best creatures out there, I recommend you use worse creatures, but just get your class advantage, because class advantage is really important. If you have the class advantage, you're gonna win. You see, this is 3 caves. I just need another 3 reefs, and that's the easiest victory of my life. And now I have notice, which makes that really easy for me. I decide, oh wait, no, 3 reefs, 3 surfaces. So, I used all of my other good surfaces in the last battle, and I can already feel the effects of using my best creatures despite it being literally 3 minutes, maybe 2. So what I recommend for being successful at battling and doing events efficiently, if you want to log on it day in, day out, and just do events every day, you do all of the events. If you really want to do that, I recommend you designate a middle ground, like a middle class that you will use. Every battle you want to use at least 2 creatures from that middle class. You designate a lower class that you use when you want to either just save 1 turn, or if you want to just fodder off something. And that you may use when you're just in a pinch and you have a really strong creature you can take out in 3 hits, for example. And then you have your upper class, which you save for events where you really need them. Because if you want to do every event in a day, you're gonna need to do maybe 7 battles. 7 battles with 3 dinosaurs every battle is gonna equate to 21 dinosaurs. Without using bucks to buy them back, that's gonna be pretty much all of your middle class is gonna be used in battle. And I'll show you a screenshot maybe of what my roster looks like after I've done 7 or 8 battles. And it's pretty insane because on the day I'm recording this voiceover, I only had to spend 5 creatures on one event, and I had to spend 12 creatures on another event. So I only had to spend 17 creatures, and 12 of them were Cenozoic. So I didn't really feel that much of an impact. And I looked at my roster and my goodness, it was all empty. There was barely anything there. And I started questioning myself. I was like, did I use them? I don't think I did. So anyways, I think that's pretty much it for the battles today. I'm just looking at some of my Cenozoic creatures because I had a lot of them saved up, and then I started using them in trades to get food and stuff because I was really starving my park, and especially later on now. Now I'm making a lot of videos that require me to feed 33 million food, and 18 million was spent on Nundagosaurus to level 40. And that's pretty ridiculous. So, you know, I think that's it for now. And I'll see you guys later in the next video. Thank you.